Now by Ambassador Liu Xiaoming, who's been Chinese ambassador to the UK since 2009. Quite a period. Ambassador, let's start off with the joint declaration, that treaty between the two countries. Is China still committed to upholding it?
We are upholding the principle of one country, two systems. This promise has been made not only to Britain, but to the world, to the Chinese people and the people including people including those in Hong Kong. The joint declaration has completed its mission after Hong Kong handover, and now I think the one country, two systems has been successful in Hong Kong.
You say it's completed its mission, and I want to put to you something your foreign ministry spokesman, Liu Kang, said 2 years ago this summer, pretty much this time. He said that the declaration no longer has any realistic meaning. It's a purely historic document.
I think it's a historic document. It completed the mission to ensure smooth handover
so it's
of
irrelevant
Hong Kong.
Now?
It's relevant in that it set a good example for the international community to settle a dispute between nations by peaceful means. So it is still a shining, successful example for people to follow. But that declaration gives the British government no sovereignty, no right, no any legitimacy to interfere into the internal affairs of Hong Kong.
Well,
Hong Kong
no
now is
sovereignty, that's clear. That's what ended in 1997.
Yes.
But still an interest and a feeling on the part of hundreds of thousands of people in Hong Kong that Britain has a duty to protect their rights under the terms of that promise.
The British government have a duty to protect your own citizens, but not the people of Hong Kong. The citizens of Hong Kong people, they are part of China now, Hong Kong, and according to basic law, Hong Kong people will run their own affairs, and they are entitled to implement their social system different from the mainland, but it has nothing to do with the British government.
But I'm sure you can see, putting the British government to one side now, just the feelings of the people in Hong Kong. Hundreds of thousands, some people say 10% of the entire population have come out on the streets. A nerve has been touched that Beijing is not respecting their right to a separate system, a separate judicial system.
That's not correct. I think the whole story has been distorted. This case is about to rectify the deficiencies, plug the loopholes of the existing legal system.
Who's distorting this, do you think?
The media.
In Hong Kong, or I saw...
No, including BBC, I think. You portrayed the story as the Hong Kong government made this amendment and the instruction of the Beijing government. As a matter of fact, Beijing, the central government gave no instruction, no order about the making amendment. This amendment was initiated by the Hong Kong government. It's prompted by a murder case happened in Taiwan, and this
would you advise the Hong Kong government then to drop it, given how controversial?
Controversial. Why should we ask them to drop?
Because you can see what people, even legislators there. One man said, "You're beating the people out of Hong Kong to the police." That's the scenes we're seeing in the territory now as a result of this attempt to change the law.
But you have to remember. At the very beginning, it has been peaceful demonstration, but it became ugly afterwards. Policeman was beaten, and the police have to defend themselves. They have to put an order in place, so you can't blame policemen. I think that also always the forces inside, outside Hong Kong try to take advantage of things to stir up trouble. Let me come back to this.
But this is a domestic grassroots movement of people in Hong Kong.
But you only, it had been exaggerated to 1 million. As a matter of fact, according to police account, it's about 200,000 people. But you ignore 800,000 people who sign up to support the amendment. There's a silent majority has not been fully reported in this country by the BBC.
Well, you're making the case now.
And also, the Hong Kong government invites the Hong Kong public for suggestions, for opinion, and they receive 4,500 written reply. 3,000 support the amendment. Only 1,500 oppose amendment.
What effect? Sorry, but I will just want to move on to one or two other issues. What effect do you think it has on people in Hong Kong when they see treatment of Uyghurs, for example, in the eastern region of Xinjiang, an estimated 1 million people, Muslim minority citizens, in re-education camps?
I don't know where you get this 1 million people. You know,
it's a UN estimate.
There are, I don't think it's UN have any report on this. There are education center, training center. It's for help the people who have been brainwashed by extremists to return to society, to return and to earn their living, to train them with the skill, language, and the knowledge of legal, so they can protect their own interests. You know,
can we have access? Can we see what's going on? Because a lot of people
we invited the journalists and the diplomats to visit the center.
Hearing reports that what happens in there is an assault on their Muslim faith.
No, that's a completely wrong.
That they're forced to eat pork, that they're prevented from praying, that they're told it's a backward religion.
This all distortion. This is all made up news, fake news, I would say. You know, people are respected.
We're getting it through
they are
reliable
respected
sources.
for their freedom of religion. You know, the people are entitled to have their religion. And the people, you know, the important thing, you miss the big picture, is the reason for this center is to educate those young people who have been, you know, intoxicated by the extremist ideas. And ever since these measures, there have been no extremist violent incident in Xinjiang for the past 3 years.
No,
that means these measures have been successful.
I think anyone would understand why you might want de-radicalization or to prevent terrorist acts. I think that's a cause that you might have in common with many other governments or societies around the world. But what we hear persistent reports of is a very large number of people, up to 1 million, involved in this re-education process, which sounds frankly sinister.
I don't think where you get this number, 1 million.
What would your estimate be?
You know, it's difficult to calculate a number because there's a going, coming in, going out. You know, it's a number changed from time to time. But important thing you have to focus on, the purpose of this center is not, you know, to round up people. The purpose is to help these young people to have a better life after, you know, education and training.
And you're saying that the purpose is not to eradicate Islam as a religion among those people, that is not the aim of this exercise?
No, not at all.
Huawei. It's a big subject, and I'm sure for you, in your post in London, it's something you care a lot about. The British government has been in a position where it seemed to make an interim decision on advice to use some elements of Huawei's technology in its 5G network. Now, as you know, quite a bit of pressure from the United States not to do so at all. Will there be consequences, do you think, from a Chinese point of view, if Britain decides not to use it at all?
First of all, I would say Huawei is a good company, is a leader in 5G. You know, they are here for win-win cooperation with the British counterparts, and they contribute tremendously, not only to the telecom industry in this country. They employ 7,000 people, and also I think you know, in terms of win-win collaboration, if UK collaborate with Huawei, there'll be promising future for both sides.
They've got advanced technology, no doubt about it, but what if the UK chooses not to?
I think it will send a very bad message, not only to Huawei, but also to Chinese businesses, why the UK will remain open, well, UK will be still business-friendly environment for Chinese company. It will send a very bad signal.
negative effects on
yes,
trade.
Bad, yes, not only on trade but also on investment. For the past 5 years, the investment from China exceed the total investment in the previous 30 years. So Chinese investment are booming in this country. Even last year, increased by 14%. But if you shut the door for Huawei, it will send very bad and negative message to other Chinese businesses.
On that note, Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us.